Good morning. You listen to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Benjamin Liebert, the Executive Vice President of Shaw's residential business. Benjamin, how you doing?
Doing great, Kemp. It's nice to be with you this morning.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this. We've been anticipating your arrival. You've been at Shaw for a few weeks. Let's first go through your background. You spent the last 13 and a half years with Electrolux, which is probably a great background. It's a consumer product, appliance business. And prior to that, you spent a couple of years with HD Supply, and prior to that, 6 years with GE. And you went to Purdue University, and you got an MBA from Emory, and you're a Six Sigma black belt. Is that all right?
That's a mouthful. Yeah, that sounds right.
You're stepping into the role. You're going to be the leader of Shaw's residential business, which is rough numbers on the back of a napkin. That's a $4 billion piece of business. So congratulations on this appointment. Tell us what attracted you to Shaw.
Yeah, it's a brand that I've been quite familiar with over the last, 20, 21 years as a consumer, and then also having grown up in the residential business. We tend to be involved in the same circles, whether it be home centers or buying groups or independent retailers. We're running around in the same circles. Tim Baucom and I had a chance encounter in the 2009 timeframe when I was at HD Supply. I had the opportunity to fly into the Atlanta area and tour a commercial carpet factory here in Dalton. So that was my first exposure to the flooring business in 2009. And we met for 5 minutes. Really ironic that you fast forward here more than a decade later, and here I am sitting in a hotel room in Dalton, Georgia, working for Shaw on week 3. So really interesting how the circles work and how small the industries are. But it's great to be here and anxious to really roll up my sleeves and get my hands dirty here.
You mentioned Tim Baucom and your MBA from Emory. I think he shares that same advanced education, doesn't he?
He sure does. Yeah, that was one thing we talked a lot about in 2009. As this process started several months ago, technically it started from an executive search. I got deeper into the discussion, and when Tim and I had the opportunity, I asked him, I said, "You probably don't remember me, from 2009." And he said, No, I absolutely do remember you, and remember that we shared the same school, kind of carried that conversation forward. So really a nice way to get re-engaged and reintroduced to the business and to Tim.
Understanding what you're going to be charged to do with Shaw and knowing your background, what do you think best prepared you in your past work history for this role?
The great thing about the consumer durable industry in general and in residential is, I think it starts with our people, our team members. Part 2 is just a deep partnership with customers, with the trade, understanding, what do they need to be successful, and then how can we as a manufacturer be a part of that, almost regardless of the industry. Those are the 2 things that are foundational for me and have been foundational for me for the last 21 years. In week 3 here, I see that those are values that are really important to Shaw. They're values that are really important to our industry. And I think that starts with that for sure. And then, over the course of the last 21 years at the 3 companies that you mentioned, I've been so fortunate to work for great managers, great leaders, great mentors. And I've had opportunities to work in a bunch of different functions. My core background's in sales, but, years in merchandising and in marketing. Spent 4 years in product development, innovation, had the opportunity to lead a big research and development team, to lead a design team. Those are things I just never thought I'd have the opportunity to do. And then most recently at Electrolux, I led our North American sales operation, which is about a $4 billion business. So really the same size as Shaw, give or take, both U.S. and Canada, and had all the sales channels. And so I think when you add all that up, just a lot of learning through doing over the last 21 years. And then when we started to talk about the opportunity here at Shaw, it just was a natural fit, with the culture and the people, and then just the experience, even though the products are different. I think, what we're trying to get done and the core values that we have are very, very similar.
You stepping into a company that's got a long reputation for being a people organization. So it sounds like Tim's done a good job of selecting you. So let's just talk. I know, again, just 2.5 weeks in the business. What are a couple of the key initiatives for 24 that you're most excited about?
I'm learning a lot about Shaw, the past and the future. And I think what's nice is, the term I've been using is proud past, bright future. And we're doing so many great things here at Shaw. And so it's about, how do you take what's really good and make it even better? A couple of initiatives that, we're mapping out right now. I think it starts again with our people. So just a deep investment in keeping that culture going. It's something that must be preserved here. We believe it's a competitive advantage, our people. And so we want to continue to invest. And for me, being new, the first 90 days, that's priority number one. So just, I want to get a deep engagement with our people and ask them what's working, what's not working, what do you need help with? And just get back to the basics there. Part two there, customers again. I have a lot of new customers to meet, and I'm going to be asking them the same question. How can Shaw be even better? How can we help you manage your business and grow even better than we have before? On top of that, there's some exciting initiatives that have already been in flight. We have new operations and new investment in manufacturing, Georgia and South Carolina and Alabama that are starting to come online, and that's going to improve our capabilities moving forward. And I think last, brands and innovation. We have great brands. They're largely trade brands, and we have great innovation. And I think we want to continue to accelerate our investment in new innovation and really, bring the Shaw brand forward into the marketplace and to the consumer's home as well, so that we can, really bring the consumer and our customer base together around great brands and innovation.
I like what you're saying there. We've done some research, and the consumer knows where they bought the product, but they don't remember what they bought. So hopefully you can help change that.
Exactly.
Just real quick, last question, as everybody's getting a chance to know you here. I know you're married and you've got a couple of children, a son and a daughter, and you live outside of Charlotte. Tell me a little bit more about what your plans are there. You going to move to Dalton?
Yeah, absolutely. We are all in. And I think that was something Tim and I talked about. And it's a core to my philosophy is you have to be all in, and you have to be in it with sleeves rolled up and prepared to get your hands dirty. So I've been married over 20 years. As you said, we're living in the Charlotte area, have 2 children. Right now we're in the process of deciding, where we're going to be living in North Georgia or the Chattanooga market. We just don't know yet. Looking at homes, looking at lots, looking at schools. And so we're in that part of the journey, and so my wife and I are quite busy with that. And I think we're feeling what the consumer is feeling right now. I want to move. I'm going to sell a home and buy a home, and there's just not much inventory in the market. Kind of an interesting experience to be going through this as a consumer, and then also being working in an industry where we're all trying to solve for what the macroeconomic picture is going to look like in 2024 with inflation and interest rates and really low inventory in housing. So that's where we are personally as we make this transition here to the North Georgia area, hoping to be here by summer as our kids finish school in the Charlotte area.
Okay, Benjamin. Well, you've just started a career that most people don't leave once they enter, and for the rest of your lives, you're going to be looking down at the floors.
For the last 20 years, I've been looking at everybody's kitchen as soon as I walk into their house. So it's a nice transition to the floor. So I'll take it.
All right. Well, welcome to the industry, and thanks for spending time with us. Again, been talking to Benjamin Liebert, the Executive Vice President of Shaw's Residential Business, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.